All right, YouTube, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. It is April 10th. We're jumping into some MLB baseball action in today's video. We're going to go through each and every game. I'll give you my lean on the game. We'll talk about the total, all that good stuff. But all my final plays, what I end up rolling with, what I'm actually counting towards the record, that will be in the pinned comment, guys. So make sure to check out that pinned comment throughout the day if you are looking for what I'm actually going to be rolling with. Let's go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys. We're still racing towards 25,000 subscribers. I cannot thank you guys enough for the recent success of the channel. I owe that all to you guys. We're red hot in the MLB. Now, gotta hit the brakes there because we did have a bad day yesterday. We go 1-3. But before that, we were absolutely killing it. So let's get back in the winner's circle with today's games. All right, so let's jump into the first game. Only if you guys hit the like button. I asked once, I'll ask twice, I'll probably ask a third time, but just go out there and do it right now. Hit that like button, guys. Let's jump into the first game. We got the Minnesota Twins taking on the White Sox here on the season. Minnesota 6-3, White Sox 4-6. Cease on the mound for the White Sox, Maeda on the mound for the Twins. Right now, Twins minus 105 on the money line here. Total sitting at 7.5. In their last game, Chicago here losing to the Pirates. Minnesota taking a loss, pretty bad one, to the Astros there. I think that this game is a bounce back spot for Minnesota, so I'm going to lean towards Minnesota money line in this one. In terms of a total, 7.5, that seems a little bit high to me, so I'm going to lean towards the under in this one. If this goes over, I wouldn't be ultra surprised. 8 of the last 9 White Sox games have gone over, much to their pitching, and I guess their offense has been really good too. They've had plenty of 9, 7, 10-run offensive performances, but I do think that this one, we saw yesterday both these teams score. Pittsburgh scored 0 runs, and Minnesota scored 1 run. I think that kind of can stick around with them. So I'm going to lean towards, again, Minnesota money line and the under. Moving on, we got the Guardians taking on the Yankees here. Guardians kind of surprising me out the gates here. They're 6-4 on the season. Yankees 6-3. German on the mound for the Yanks, and then Bieber on the mound for the Guardians. 2.25 ERA this season. They are heavy favorites going into this one. Guardians at home here, minus 145 on the money line. Total is sitting at 7.5. These two teams last year they played, if you want to make you do of that, the Yankees absolutely controlled that one, winning the last 2 games of this series here. I do think that this is a good spot for the Guardians. I don't know how much I trust the offense entirely. Very, very inconsistent. They'll score 6 runs, then all of a sudden they'll turn around and score 3 or 2 runs. Now, again, not facing the hardest of pitchers today, so I think this Guardians offense does get to the Yankees. Whether or not that results in a win, I'm not quite sure yet. I think the value is on the Yankee side of things on the money line, so I'm going to slight lean Yankees money line in this one at plus 130 on average sportsbooks odds here. But in terms of an actual final play, I do think that this is one that can result in a pretty strong over. I think this one gets to 9 runs, no sweat. So that's a decent margin from where the line is as to where I have this game pegged. So I'm going to lean towards the over here. And like I said, I can totally see the Guardians winning this game. So if you're in the comments being like, no, the Guardians playing good baseball, they're going to win, I wouldn't argue you. But I do think that the money value here is Yankees plus 130 on the money line. Moving on, we got the Orioles taking on the A's here. Orioles minus, I think I said the Oreos. The Oreos are minus 170 here on the money line at home. Total up there at 8.5. Some of the value here when it comes to the play, I do think could be Oakland run line here, plus 1.5 at minus 130. You're still paying a little bit of juice, but I don't really see this Baltimore club being a team that's going to come out there and just blow a team out. Now, they did take 2 against, they took 1 against the Yankees and a couple losses there where they didn't even keep it close against the Yankees. I will say in the Oakland side of things, they haven't scored a run in 2 games. Tampa Bay, 2 games in a row, beat them 11-0. You know how I want myself for my performance? That is for the A's right there. Again, I do think the value here in terms of just analytically looking at this, I do think that the A's plus 1.5 run line is going to be my lean, even though they haven't really shown much yet. I think it's looking at the other side too. This Baltimore team isn't beating teams 11-0 like the Rays were doing to the A's here. And then in terms of a total 8.5, I think that I'm going to lean over. That's a tough one for me. I'm going to lean over just due to the fact that we've seen this Baltimore club kind of explode at times offensively. And we've obviously seen Oakland have, batters bat them around. But, 8.5 here, it's going to be a tough one for me to make a final play if I'm being completely honest. But that is the way that I'm leaning right now. All right, moving on, we got the Pirates taking on the Astros here. Pirates, talk about a team that's surprising me. 6-3 on the season here. They have Contreras on the mound, who's 1-0 with a 1.59 ERA, and then Valdez on the mound for the Astros, who are 4-6 right now. Valdez 0-1 on the season, but its ERA is 1.5, and this total is at 8 runs. If this is going to be a pitcher's duel just based on the performance of this season, I do like the under as an initial lean here, but in terms of a side play, I don't know why the Astros are minus 179 here on the road. They haven't really proved exactly to me why they would be that much of a favor. And I did see in the comments yesterday or the day before someone being like, well, that offense is way different with Altuve on the DL, which makes total sense, obviously, right? So I do think that there's reason to believe this Pittsburgh team, there could be some serious value. They're plus 165 at home. They're playing well. They got a good hand on the mound right now. I think the value is Pittsburgh at home here, money line. Does that mean the Astros can't win? No kidding. Look at the odds, minus 179. They're projected to be the team that wins, but I'm not just gonna lay a money line play at minus 179. Does that make sense? If anything, if you are on the Houston side of things, you might want to consider run line because you're at least getting some bang for your buck. Minus 150 when you get the minus 1.5 run line there. But in terms of an actual money play, and based on what we've seen Pittsburgh be able to do this season, I'm leaning Pittsburgh here plus 165 on the money line. Total is at 8 runs again. So I do like I guess I already gave my lean on the total. Don't want to repeat myself. All right, moving on, we got Phillies taking on the Marlins here. Philly plus 105 here, money line at home. Total sitting at 7.5 right now. These are two teams that I really don't like all that much. Alcantara on the mound for the Marlins, Strom on the mound for the Phillies. I don't really have that much of a vibe from this game other than kind of liking the under in this one, ever so slightly though. So it's kind of, I guess a hit or miss type game, but I really haven't gotten a grasp of either of these two teams. Now, we've had games that we win, going against either of these two teams, but to be completely honest, this Miami team surprises me. They're getting beat down by the Mets 2 games in a row, and then they win 7-2. And I guess the same thing you could say for the Phillies here too. The Phillies, as good as the Yankees were playing, I guess at that moment, they only lost 1 game they took 1 game against the Phillies, the Yankees, and they get beat, 4-2, 8-1. Very, very, very inconsistent. So I'm just going to lean towards the home team in this game, but I think you guys can tell by my voice, I'm not even trying to act intelligent about this game. This one's kind of a coin flip to me, so I'm going to lean towards the home team in terms of a total as well. I do like the under. All right, next game on the slate, we have Boston taking on Tampa Bay. The graphic, we didn't have the numbers filled out for this one, but right now, Tampa Bay minus 148 money line here at home. Total is sitting at 8.5. Red Sox, Pavetta's on the mound for them, 0-1 on the season with a 1.8 ERA. They're 5-4. The Tampa Bay Rays, I guess you could figure they're gonna be good, but they're 9-0. 9-0. They have not lost this season. Fleming on the mound for them here. Minus 148 is a little bit too much to ask for, if you ask me. But again, this Tampa Bay team is absolutely just pumping people. Let me run through just a few of their games to start the year. 12-2, 10-6, 9-5, 11-0, 11-0. They are cooking with absolute gasoline. I have to give them credit where it is due. Now, the Red Sox coming off of a sweep of a series against Detroit. We hit 2 of those games for our money line plays. Yesterday was one of them as well. Our only win of the day was the Red Sox here. I think that my lean is going to come down to where I think that there could be some value now. I know Tampa Bay has won. Someone was saying in the comments too, and it was a great call. Tampa Bay, every game they've won has been won by the run line this season, which is absolutely crazy. But I'm going to go against all sort of data and analytics here and lean Red Sox plus the 1.5 on the run line. It's really the only bet, and that's because I do think the Red Sox keep this game close. Fleming ain't the best for the Rays. Pivetta pitching decent, I guess, to start the year, so for whatever that's worth. So I'm gonna lean towards Red Sox. I think that they keep this game close. I don't want to tell you that the Red Sox could win this game, because I think of this Tampa Bay team, you're kind of silly to bet against them, to start the year here. And when I mean against, I mean you're betting on them to lose. I don't think that they're a ball club that's going to be losing many games, at least while they're red hot like this. But I think this one could be a closer game. So minus 130 on the run line here for the Red Sox, plus 1.5. Maybe it's a, maybe be a psycho alert alarm worthy game and call for me to make, because I could be a loser and a lunatic right now betting against the Rays, but I think that they could win this game, but the Red Sox keep it to 1 run. In terms of a total 8.5, I do look at the over here. You have two teams that have been smashing overs for plenty of games there this season. I mean, hell, the Rays literally are getting this line done, no sweat themselves for most of their games. So I think the over is a pretty safe play here as well. All right, Mets taking on the Padres here. Mets minus 130 money lines here at home. Total sitting at 7.5 runs. The Padres got the job done last night, and for the whole series pretty much, other than one game. They take 304 against Atlanta. We did cash in, what were they, plus 140 something a couple nights back. We had a money line, but I will say we had the Atlanta Braves last night. That didn't go our way. Not much did go our way last night. We had a 25% win rate. Our leans were fine, but our final plays we went 1-3 again. The Mets here are probably playing a little bit, not up to what people thought they would, but they have so many things. Like, this Mets team has to be cursed with injuries and drama and it's just stuff like that. So I do think that this Padres team, I'm kind of going to ride the hot bats here and lean towards the Padres. On the mound for the Mets is Scherzer, which kind of scares me. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres, but Scherzer's 1-1 this season with a 6.35 ERA. Hopefully he sticks more to his true numbers there and doesn't pitch lights out, because I do think this Padres team, some of the games they've been playing, 10 runs last night, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5 runs in their last few games here. They're putting a decent amount of balls in play and scoring a lot of runs, which has been a struggle for the Mets to prevent this season defensively too. So I think this is a good spot for the Padres here. Again, you're getting decent money, plus 120 on the money line for most books, so I like that. And then in terms of a total, I don't really hate the over here, but just ever so slightly. All right, Braves taking on the Reds here. Braves minus 188, minus 190 on plenty of sports books here on the money line at home. Total is at 9 runs right now. I don't think you can even look at the Braves minus 190. That just that's not a return on your dollar near worthy of what it should be. And then their run line is plus 110. I don't really love that either, which forces me to look at the Cincinnati side of things. But the Cincinnati side of things, I don't really find too appealing either. Plus 1.5 on the run line for minus 130. And I really don't know how confident I am in them in terms of money line here. So just from a money perspective and an odds perspective, and I hope you guys get when I explain that, right? Like, I work through each play here, not from a, oh, what do I think's gonna happen, but kind of like a logical look at the money and what is worth you investing in, right? And I think the only play here sidewise that makes a little bit of sense could be Cincinnati plus set 175 on the money line on the road. Now, does that become a final play? I'm gonna have to seriously do some extra research and think about that and figure it out and see if I want to roll with that, because I don't really love them against a team or the matchup, but I will say that is the only spot that seems worth putting money on a side perspective here. But in terms of a total, it is sitting at 9 runs right now, and I think that this one just barely creeps over that mark. So I'm gonna lean towards the over 2, but this is another game, and you guys know I do not BS you guys. This is another one of those games that I don't really have the biggest of feel or biggest of grasps on, and maybe I shouldn't be saying that with the camera on the mic. I should try and act like, oh, I'm a know-it-all or I know everything that we're talking about. I'll be honest, it's a game that I don't have the biggest of vibes for, biggest of, my spreadsheets and whatnot don't really give me exactly what I want from this game. So I'm gonna lean Reds because of the money, and then in terms of the total, I'm leaning the over. All right, Cubs taking on the Mariners here. Cubs right now plus 145 money line dogs at home. The total we do not have an updated total for as of right now. It got taken off most books. It started at 8, so we'll go off of 8 as of right now. But you can see in the graphics too, it's blank. It got ripped from a lot of sports books, so I'm not exactly sure what that means. But in terms of what we've been doing with the Cubs, we have been taking them plenty, and they've been cashing. Now, they didn't come through for us last night, but this is one of the first games that we're looking at on the season, other than I think opening day, when they are underdogs here, as money line underdogs here. Smiley's on the mound for them. Luis Castillo's on the mound for the Mariners. Been pitching well this season. He's 1-0. Smiley's 0-1. In terms of a lean, though, I do think that I might be just becoming too loyal to betting the Cubs because they've won us a bunch of money, but I'm going to lean towards the Cubs here money line. Again, I do think this is a good opportunity because you're not going to get many times, at least to start the year here, where the Cubs are this big of underdogs, and their offense is going to do what their offense does, and hopefully Smiley can kind of pitch a little bit better. He's 0-1 on the season, like I said, and he's got 11.2 1.57 ERA, which ain't the best. He pitched against Cincinnati and got kind of lit up there. And then in terms of I just don't, I guess I could say I don't really trust him. That's the downfall, but I do think that this offense can get it going. So I'm going to lean towards Chicago here just for the money line perspective here. And then in terms of a total, if it is indeed at 8, I'm going to lean towards the over. But again, that got taken down from sportsbooks, so I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. All right, moving on, we got the Rangers hosting the Royals here. Rangers -168 here at home. Total is sitting at 9 runs. Rangers have Heaney on the mound today. They're 5-4 on the season. Royals are 3-7 with Zach Greinke going out there. I think there's a lot of value with Greinke. He's been pitching well. They're not scoring runs from when he starts. He's 0-2, only a 2.38 ERA this season. But I think there's value in the +155 on the Royals side of things. Again, pitching for the Rangers, the dude has a 24 ERA to start the season. 0-1 with a 23.62 ERA. I really do think and hope, I just hope, right, that this Royals team can get to him. But Greinke, yeah, both times that they've rolled out Greinke, he's let up 2 runs in 3, or one time 2 runs, the next time 3 runs, and guess how many points the Royals scored for him? Points. I'm in NBA mode. Guess how many runs the Royals scored for him? 0. So that's tough. Hopefully they do get it going for him today. But yeah, Heaney's on the mound, and he's let up plenty of runs here, 7 to be exact, in his last start on the 4th, which is a week ago or so. So I hope that the Royals can get to him. Total is up there at 9. I kind of like the under in this one. Even though this Rangers team has shown plenty of times that they can go out there and score, and I shouldn't say plenty of times, just a couple times, that they can go out there and score 1,000,000 runs this season. So I do think that that's a maybe old news. Like, what was it, the first 2 games of the year they scored 11 and like 15 runs? We haven't really seen much of that as of late, so I'm leaning towards the under. All right, moving on, we have Washington traveling to LA here. LA -250 on the money line here. Total is sitting at 9.5 runs. Washington seems like they're getting no respect in this one, which I guess makes a little bit of sense. They are 3-7 on the year. Corbin on the mound, 0-2 on the year. He's 8 ERA. Suarez on the mound, though, for the Angels, 12.46 ERA. He hasn't looked all that great either. I will say that. He's only pitched 1 time, though, letting up, was it 11 runs? Corbin has only had 2 starts here, too. He's let up 7 runs each time through those innings. I think he only pitched a few innings in his first start, too, so that's kind of why the ERA is a little bit inflated there. But I don't trust either side's pitching here, so I know that this is a 9.5 total, but it is still something that we're going to be looking at the over. I think these are 2 pitchers that are going to get batted around pretty easily. And in terms of the weather, you have about an 8-mile-an-hour wind blowing directly out to center field, so maybe a couple home runs help us out on the over there. In terms of a lean, I am going to look at Washington +1.5 or +113. So their run line, you're actually getting plus money for. I do like that. Again, I think this is a team that is going to let up a lot of runs, but I think that you're looking at the Angels, who also are going to let up a lot of runs. So hopefully we're looking at a pretty big game here, because you're also going to get some decent money on the over. So if this one gets up, I don't know, 6-5 type ball game, Washington covers their run line. They might have lost, but they also hit the over there as well. All right, Diamondbacks taking on the Brewers. This Brewers team I've been actually very surprised with. They're 7-2 on the season. They have Wade Miley on the mound, who's 1-0 in the season so far. He only pitched like 6 innings against the Mets about a week ago or so, but they won that game 9-0. So you got to give credit where it is due. Gallen on the mound for the Diamondbacks here. He pitched opening day and April 4th. Not the best for him there. He let up 6 runs in 6 innings against San Diego. They did get the win for him, or not for him, but for the team. Then opening day, he let up 8 runs. They only scored 2 runs for him, though, so I don't want to say that loss was totally on him. He didn't get much offensive support, but I think this Brewers team, +128 on the money line on the road, has some value there, so I'm going to lean that direction. Then in terms of a total, again, I'm looking at the over here as well. I think that this is another game where one side could kind of go off and hit big, and I think it's going to be the Brewers. If you had to ask me, that is why I'm leaning that direction too. But we've seen this Arizona offense kind of ramp up in the last, well, you'd say 5 games or so. Ever since the last day of the San Diego series, they scored 8 runs. Then they did have a sort of setback at 2 runs against LA. And I think Dustin May was on the mound for LA there, who's been pitching all right. But then look at this, coming back from that, going off against Kershaw, Syndergaard, and Grove. They scored 6 runs, 12 runs, and 11 runs against LA. Something's going on with these Arizona Diamondbacks bats. Same thing for the Brewers, though, so that's why I'm leaning that way, just because of the plus money on the road here on the money line. But I think that this is a great spot for an over. And then our last game of the slate here, we have San Francisco taking on the Dodgers. San Francisco at home, plus 139 here on the money line. Total is sitting at 7.5 runs. LA, I think, is going to be my lean here. Minus 150 isn't the odds that I want to be paying, the juice that I want to be paying, but I do think that this is a good spot for them. Coming off of 3 straight losses to Arizona has to have them a little pissed off, right? And I think they are just a better team than this team that they're playing is the Giants. Did I just not speak English for a little bit? But I do lean LA here, minus the 150 on the money line. I don't like them run line. I'll be honest, you're only getting plus 105 if you take them run line. So yeah, you're getting plus money, but I'd rather just pay the juice and kind of suck it up and take my medicine. And then in terms of a total 7.5, just seems a little bit too low for me. I'm going to lean towards the over there as well. And that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Hope you guys do enjoy. I'll catch you in the next one, all right? Peace out.